I need you to teach me how to read that out loud.
Byron? Did I strike you much harder than I realised earlier?
There is a pleasure in the pathless woods.
Ooh.
There is a rapture on the... How does one make that sound good?
Season 4 of Bridgerton has a lot riding on it, especially now that Netflix has officially confirmed that Benedict will be the main character. The big announcement didn't just stop there either. Netflix also revealed that Seasons 5 and 6 are already on the way, which means fans can breathe a sigh of relief knowing the show isn't wrapping up anytime soon. But Season 4 still has to get Benedict's story right because it's based on An Offer from a Gentleman, the third book in Julia Quinn's series, and it has some very particular themes and moments that make it unique. In the book, Benedict's romance with Sophie is straight out of a Cinderella fairy tale, except with a lot more Regency drama and sharp-tongued side characters. Their whole relationship kicks off at a masquerade ball, where Sophie is in disguise. That mask lets her be someone else for one night, which is a huge deal because her real life is nothing like the glamorous world of the ton. The Season 3 finale already dropped hints about what's coming, with Benedict's goodbye to Eloise before she left for Scotland. So the stage is set, but it's going to take careful storytelling to make it all work on screen. One thing that makes Sophie's story stand out from the other Bridgerton romances is the class divide. Sophie isn't just less wealthy than Benedict, she's lived as a servant. Technically, she's the illegitimate daughter of the Earl of Penwood, but after he dies, she ends up working under his nasty new wife, Araminta, and then for other high society families. That makes her perspective completely different from the rest of the main characters we've seen so far. Season 4 can't skip over that because it's not just part of her backstory, it's the heart of her character. Another scene from the book that absolutely needs to be kept is Benedict and Sophie's time at My Cottage. In An Offer from a Gentleman, they run into each other again years after the masquerade. Benedict rescues Sophie from her employer's awful son and offers to take her to his mother's house so she can find work there. But because they're traveling at night and Benedict ends up sick with a fever, they have to stop at his countryside place, My Cottage. That detour is where things really change between them. Being away from the ton means they can drop all the rules and expectations that would normally keep them apart. Sophie has to take care of Benedict while he's ill, and because they're alone, they get to know each other much more quickly. It's intimate without being rushed, and it's also a preview of what their future could look like, living away from society's constant judgment, building a life on their own terms. Sophie's relationship with her stepsister Posie is another detail Season 4 should treat with care. Posie is one of the only bright spots in Sophie's life before Benedict. Both girls suffer under Araminta's rule, but for different reasons. Araminta can't stand Sophie because she's a reminder of her husband's infidelity, and she neglects Posie because she doesn't think she's attractive enough to help the family's social ambitions. Even though Posie isn't a central character, her arc mirrors Sophie's. Both eventually break free from Araminta's control and figure out where they belong in the world. In the book, Posie even plays a crucial role in revealing Sophie's dowry and helps free her from jail after Araminta has her arrested. Without Posie, Sophie's story wouldn't have the same depth or payoff. Once Sophie joins the Bridgerton household as Violet's employee, her world changes completely. She bonds instantly with the younger Bridgertons, and Violet welcomes her as part of the family almost right away. For Sophie, who's never known what it's like to be in a warm, supportive home, it's life-changing. For Benedict, watching Sophie fit in so naturally just confirms how right she is for their family. That's part of why he falls for her even harder. It's also what sets up one of the biggest turning points in the book, Benedict's proposal, which leads to their fallout and the fast-paced finale. The masquerade ball itself is non-negotiable for Season 4, but the show has room to add a twist. In the book, we first see the ball through Sophie's eyes because her identity is still a mystery to Benedict. The Netflix version could flip that and focus on Benedict's perspective instead. That would let viewers experience the magic of meeting Sophie, while still not knowing exactly who she is, which makes her appearance later on even more exciting. Since audiences already know Benedict, this shift in perspective could make the moment feel fresh without losing its importance. Sophie's position in society, or lack thereof, is another major plot point that can't be watered down. She's the Earl's illegitimate daughter, but that doesn't give her any security. After his death, Araminta keeps her around only because it means more money for herself. Sophie's life as a servant shapes her values and her independence, and it's also the main reason she refuses Benedict's first proposal. She can't just marry him and forget the consequences. She knows how society would treat both her and any children they might have. That class difference also drives one of their most dramatic fights. In the book, Benedict asks Sophie to be his mistress because marrying her would destroy his standing in the ton. He thinks it's a compromise. He loves her and would openly love their children, but Sophie refuses. Her own upbringing as the unwanted child in a wealthy household makes her determined never to put her children through the same thing, no matter how much she loves Benedict. This disagreement is what pushes Sophie to leave the Bridgerton house, leading to her arrest and eventually to one of the most action-packed sequences in the series. Benedict's artistic side is another thread the show should pick back up. In Season 2, he was passionate about painting, but left art school, and in Season 3, he seemed to have given it up. In An Offer from a Gentleman, Sophie is one of the few people who really sees his talent and encourages him to keep going. If Season 4 shows Benedict rediscovering painting, maybe while living in the countryside with Sophie, it could tie his character arc neatly back to what we saw earlier in the show. In the books, he becomes an acclaimed painter with work displayed in the National Gallery, which is a satisfying future for him and a nice way to show Sophie's impact on his life. Netflix's announcement in May 2025 didn't just confirm Benedict as the Season 4 lead, it also reassured fans that more stories are on the way. Season 3 was released in 2 parts in 2024, and although Season 4 had been greenlit years earlier, the release date was still up in the air until now. The new timeline points to a 2026 premiere, possibly in the same May-June window as Season 3. That means we're looking at just under a year before we see how the Benedict-Sophie story plays out on screen. The confirmation of Seasons 5 and 6 also means Bridgerton doesn't have to rush or cram multiple sibling arcs into one season. The books follow each of the 8 Bridgertons in turn, but the show already proved it's willing to switch up the order. Season 3 focused on Colin instead of Benedict, for example. With Benedict's story set for Season 4, the later seasons will likely explore Eloise, Francesca, Hyacinth, or Gregory. Considering how popular the series has been, Netflix's decision to keep it going isn't surprising. Season 1 and Season 3 even made it into the streamer's all-time top 10 TV shows list. And because so much production time was lost to COVID-19 delays and the actors and writers strikes, it's encouraging to see that things are moving forward again. Fans have had to be patient, but now the path ahead for Bridgerton is clear, and Benedict's fairy tale meets reality romance with Sophie is next in line. If Season 4 keeps those key moments from the book, the masquerade ball, the time at my cottage, Sophie's bond with Posie, her connection to the younger Bridgertons, the fight about their future, and Benedict's artistic rebirth, it could end up being one of the most heartfelt seasons yet. Because this isn't just another sibling finding love. It's a story about 2 people from completely different worlds figuring out how to build one together, even though everyone around them says it's impossible. And in Bridgerton, that's exactly the kind of romance worth waiting for. And that's that for today's video. Thank you so much for watching our video today, and we will see you in the next one.